Hey, Adam here, the Roof Strategist, and welcome to today's episode where we're talking about using your CRM to maximize your sales efficiency. And in today's episode, I'm joined by Matt Morrison, who's going to be sharing some insights and some entertaining stories to answer the common questions that I've been getting. What CRM should I be using? Is my CRM helping me make money? Is it just a data hog and a time waste? Or is it something that I can leverage to boost my sales and create better experiences? So without further ado, Matt Morrison with Acculynx here to join us. Matt, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I always enjoy these types of things. It's great hanging out with you, Adam.
Yeah, excellent. And I ended up on this. I saw that Acculynx was sharing some of my content on LinkedIn I didn't even know about. And it was great. We connected through that, and it's just good having good synergy. And as always, I just want to get one disclaimer out of the way. When I bring guests on this channel, whether you're listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, I'm not anybody. I'm bringing these people on because I believe in what they're doing and that there's a shared vision in helping you guys make more money in the field. So, Matt, CRMs. Let's chat about the first big question that I get from owners is, what CRM should I use and how do I choose which one is right? And before we start answering that, I just want to let you guys know to stick around because we're going to talk about using this stuff from a sales efficiency standpoint here in a minute. So, Matt, I get the question all the time. There's a lot of options.
Yep.
How do you advise someone to choose the right CRM for them?
Well, first, I always say, what do you want out of this thing, right? What are you trying to accomplish? Do you have a CRM now, or are you still just using pen and paper and now you're trying to transition into something digital? If you are starting with pen and paper, then in some cases, you might be in a good situation because you got nothing to really base it off of. So clearly you're recognizing some of the inefficiencies that come with paper folders and having, 10 trees worth of stuff sitting on everybody's desk and stuff blowing out windows and whatever. You stick the invoice in the wrong folder and then you never find it again and that kind of stuff. So you recognize some of the inefficiencies that are out there. What are you trying to gain? Right? Are you looking for a marketing platform that gives you a little bit of CRM and data storage capabilities, or are you looking for something that's a robust database that you can pull reports out of and whatever, right? Look, there's a number of competitors in our space, and while I would love to have everybody come with Acculynx, the truth is we lose plenty of people to competitors every day, but by extension, I gain people from competitors every day. And of course, I'm wearing an Acculynx shirt, so my job is to say that we're the best. But at the end of the day, the reality is there's different fits for different people. And they have different needs and different styles and different structures. And just because your buddy says, oh, you got to use, Bubba's CRM over here, that doesn't mean it's right for you. It works for him, his company, his size, his setup, his needs, his style, and your culture is going to be very different than theirs, right? So I always say, start with what's working with what you got and what's not working with what you got, right? And then ultimately prioritize whatever one you pick, because the one you use is better than the one you don't. Right.
Yeah. And I think we can agree that it's a must. It's not an option. You need a CRM. And I get messages from people who are still running decent sized companies without one.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I was 3 hours from the office because we had 3 offices that we were running in the state at the time. And I get a phone call from a customer and I felt like a total moron. I had never heard of them. I didn't know which salesman was working with them. I didn't even know what city because we were running offices in 4 different states.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out, what state are you located in? Because the calls were forwarding to me while I was in the field. Who are you? Have we collected your money? Have we installed your roof? And then having to call the office, someone in the office rifle through it. And it's just, it doesn't, it's one, it's not efficient, and two, it makes you look like a moron. This was way many years ago, by the way. Actually, not as many as you'd think, but far enough away to drive the need. So, I know you obviously Acculynx is a CRM, and you'd be silly to say it's not a must. But objectively, from my standpoint, any company, whether you're doing $1 million a year or 30 million a year or 100 million a year, a CRM is the necessity.
Yeah, you got to have something. You got to have some. What everyone says about physical folders is, oh, it's my central source of truth. It's so easy, right? I can just open it up and I can look at it, right?
Yep.
But really, I think if we're honest with ourselves, it's kind of selfish. A paper folder is really only easy for you. It's not easy for the guy in the next office. It's not easy for the guy working 2 states away. It's not easy for the guy in the field who doesn't have your folder. It's only easy for you. It's only convenient for you. And it's certainly, I think if you use a CRM correctly, what it really does is it forces your company to start working like a team.
Yep.
right? A CRM makes you a team. It makes you have to, because it's not just a matter of, well, I've ticked my boxes off, I guess I'm done for the day. You recognize that there's a flow, and I'm going to do things that's going to help the next person down the road, the production person, the bookkeeping people, the invoicing, the collections, whatever it is. I'm going to help them have what they need so that they can consistently provide the great experience that we so pride ourselves in, right?
Yep.
It really forces that to be the case, no matter what you're using, right? Even if you just got stuff in Dropbox, it still allows for some level of collaboration and a true central source of truth. It was funny, you were talking about the person that you didn't even know who the person was. I had a sort of a similar story. I remember I was a sales guy years ago, and we didn't have a CRM at the time. I went to this customer and he asked me something about like what his bill was or what the balance on his job was and whatever. And I gave him an answer or whatever it was. And then I get back to the office the next day, and we started talking, and I mentioned that I'd been out to this guy's house and that I'd talking to him. And, well, what'd you say? Well, I said this. Well, oh shoot. Well, he just called us this morning and we told him that. Well, they had no way of knowing that I'd talked to the guy, or if it was the reverse and they talked to him first, I had no way of knowing they'd talked to the guy. Neither one of us thought to pick up the phone and say, hey, by the way, Becky, I just spoke to, whatever. And so it was, if nothing else, that's just a bad experience, right? The customer now looks like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. We're giving different answers. It's just a bad experience. And maybe when everybody was using day timers and PDAs and paper folders, that was just the expected experience of the customers. But I think now, customers aren't dumb. They know you don't have to be dumb. Yeah. You don't have, if you're acting stupid, it's because you want to. It's because you don't have stuff in place, right? That's not the expectation that the public has anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And speaking of expectations, one thing I want to touch on is customer expectations.
Yeah.
I mean, people with smartphones and technology. I mean, I grabbed doing my hunter safety right now, and I'm sitting at home watching a movie. I got it pulled up on my phone, and I expect that when I log out and jump on and log in on my computer to resume, I'm going to be picking up in the same place. And people just expect this high level of technological support and intelligence, to some respect, from companies they serve, to have a record, to know who you talked to last, what happened last, where they're at in the process, that anyone in the office can answer a simple question and not require a call back, because there's nothing that makes you feel worse and that loses confidence from a homeowner, or worse yet, a commercial property owner who you're doing. And they're like, hey, do you have any idea when the adjuster's scheduled? Hey, did so-and-so meet the adjuster? And you have no notes that's shared and visible. And I loved it when I was out. I mean, I lived in my truck, and I could just pull over, and I had my iPad always, and I could log in and just say, oh, I know exactly what's going on with whoever. And it changes the game. And by the way, it allows you to actually take some time to yourself and like go on a vacation, maybe. Even if you're still working, you have access to everything from your phone or a tablet or laptop. So,
well, I remember we had a production manager that was sort of resistant. So the company I used to work for, I brought Acculynx on. So I was a customer before I was an employee, before I switched to the light side of the force, or the dark side, I guess, depending on your perspective, right? But we had a lady named Becky who worked in our office, and she was the one person that was still kind of, holding her whoopee. She wanted her security blanket of her paper folders everywhere she went. And she would travel between offices, and she would literally package up her folders and FedEx them to the office, and then fly, and then the next morning open up the package and pick up where she left off. Even though we had Acculynx, she still didn't want to give up her paper folders. And then one day she goes on vacation. She had a family reunion or something like that she was going to in like Montana or some crap. And she's sitting in the airport on a layover without her paper folders, and a job blew up. Something went down, right? And so all of a sudden her security blanket just wasn't there. She didn't have it. And so, but she did have her laptop. And so she opened it up. I remember, she found whatever she needed to find, solved whatever problem she needed to solve, and went on about her day. But I remember she literally called or texted me that day and says, okay, Matt, I finally get it. I finally get it, because now she didn't have the luxury of this thing that had always been her backup, right? She didn't have nothing but the laptop, and the fact that everything was there saved her butt for whatever this situation was, right? Really, I think there's no downside to this, right? I mean, if you're a tech savvy customer, you expect it. You don't even have any tolerance for I don't know, let me call Adam. He's out in the field and I'll see if I can have him call back. That's just not an acceptable answer. Or if you're the not tech savvy customer who still thinks that, you still got your flip phone or some crap it is, then you just impress that person. You just impress the heck out of them. right?
Yep.
So there's no downside here. No one's going to be unimpressed or annoyed by the fact that you can answer their question or send them a text or shoot them an email with some information. No one's going to be, there's no downside there.
Yeah.
There's only upside potential.
Yep. And when it's done right, CRMs are tough to switch. They do take some time to learn, and garbage in, garbage out. You gotta train the team the right way. You have to use it the right way, and you got to use it as a tool. And what I think many roofing salespeople, many owners or sales managers overlook the fact that when leveraged properly, a CRM is really about sales efficiency.
It is.
There's three elements that I see. You may add to it because we could go down the silo in a lot of them, right? Profitability, all that. But ultimately, it's about sales efficiency, because the number one limiting factor in this business is time. You will reach a ceiling of time as your limiting your bottleneck, so to speak, as opposed to your ability to sell. So if you are, oh man, I forgot what size pipe jack flashing to order, and you have pictures or an Eagle View or Hover or whatever it is that you're using, and that's all stored in one place, you can save that trip. I remember countless times, oh, I forgot to grab the color for the drip edge or the edge metal. Now I got to go back. And being able to just have a process in place to follow, so all of your information is in one place, allows you to be more efficient which frees up time. So we have sales efficiency. Control is the next element that I see, and that's on every angle, both from the individual sales rep, clean handoffs for companies that are running a segmented sales process, so sales can hand it off to supplementing or production or to collections, or for the salesperson to handle. You have this control, and I can't even tell you how many times I had a company out with me once, and they were asking about job profitability. Say, oh, well, they have an old school spreadsheet. And I said, well, who's auditing the jobs? Oh, we just do it for what the insurance says. Well, what if it's not enough? How many times, I remember when I was brand new and I'd produce a job and be like, wait a minute, I lost money on that one.
Right.
Whoops. And now I'm married. Now we're married to the job for 7 years for the liability. So we have the control. And then the third element, which I think adds into sales, is customer service. And to me, that's the most important thing, customer first. There's times that things go wrong. There's times that things don't go wrong. Either way is an opportunity to shine. And which by the way, there's probably a really good segue to chat about what you shared with me as the newest feature with Acculynx. But that customer service side of keeping that homeowner in the loop, staying organized so you know what's happening, so they feel taken care of when they call in, is huge. So sales efficiency, control, which by the way, owners listening, control means profitability, and understanding that from a transparency standpoint, and even sales having transparency so they know roughly what they're going to get paid, which I just answered an email from a guy named Casey yesterday saying, hey, I have these jobs coming in. I'm new to the industry. I got paid this amount, but there was just this big mystery of what's coming next. And I'm immediately thinking he's clearly not using a CRM, because most CRMs are going to give some sort of indicator of pay to expect and pay plans. So back to the customer service and sales efficiency side, you want to share a little bit with what we talked about beforehand on the kind of that new cool feature that Acculynx is rolling out?
So, Acculynx has been, this year, our big focus has been, automations and trying to take some of the workload, especially some of the more menial things that are important, but are kind of repetitive, like sending an email or notifying somebody about something or whatever. We've, starting back in, I think like April or May, we rolled out a bunch of automations, right? So you can automate an email. So when a certain milestone is hit, or a job is scheduled, or an appointment is set, or whatever, an email can go out, or you can create a task for somebody. Hey, this milestone got changed. Let me create a task for, Adam over in accounting to make an invoice, or whatever the case, or supplement the job, whatever whatever your guys' flow is. And that can even be segmented down. Well, if it's a retail job, do this. If it's an insurance job, do that. Or if it's a roofing job, this. Or if it's a siding job, that. So you can even have some granularity in there about kind of how your workflow is going to be placed out. And then we've recently rolled out texting, so you can incorporate either automatic texts, and in the next week, maybe two, we're rolling out like two-way text. So you actually got like a text we can send text, and that again brings everything into one house, right? One place, so that when you're in that job file, it's not like, oh yeah, well, we were texting back and forth over here. Well, that stuff is going to be in here as well. Whether it be an automatic, just, hey, your job's scheduled to go on next week. Let us know if that's a problem. But it could also be, more of a conversation, about a problem or an issue or whatever the case might be. So, but being able to meet those customers' expectations, because more and more people are expecting text messages, whether it's from your dentist or your vet or your thinking roofing company, whatever it is, they're just expecting that that's going to be a thing, right? That's just the way that people do things. So.
And you know, back
Um,
to that, there's a
yeah.
couple things I want to hit on both for salespeople and for owners. The automation side, I know you, when I took some notes from when Matt, you and I met beforehand, and you said these are specifically transactional in nature, right? Like
Yep.
they're very specific status changes. New customer comes in, job scheduled, jobs complete, invoice for, ready for collection, whatever those stages are. And one of the things that's in the my marketing battle pack is pre-written material that you
Right.
could literally copy paste and
Yeah.
plug in. In addition to that, it is so valuable to take advantage of that opportunity and that touch point to, in my opinion, bake in those referral requests. And using a referral program, specifically the one I teach, I just haven't found anything that's worked as strongly, which I don't know if you, Matt, what I teach is to offer a $25 gift card right away for any appointment that you set. That's it. It's not the convoluted stuff that people do, like $500, $1,000, $200. The
If
if
it
we
closes in 6 weeks or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
If we get a referral, if we do business, if we get paid in full, and then 9 weeks later you do it, and then it tells the
And you
customer
forget
why.
about it and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you paying me $1,000? How much money do you make off me? So it's super, super simple. You let us know about someone we can help. I'm going to call them up, set an appointment. And just for the opportunity to chat with them, I'd like to give you a $25 gift card to somewhere local. There's more to it. But at any rate, all those emails on the update side, job schedule, you can use this as an opportunity instead of the oops, I forgot to tell you to take grandma's urn off the outside wall while we're doing siding so it doesn't rattle off and end up on the floor.
Yep.
So it's just another fail safe. So for owners, that's a control piece, making sure that those key communications are delivered, but also you're leading with value, you're having great customer service, and then every email ends with a referral. So if you take advantage, and again, all the emails in the battle pack have this, but baking in that referral request at each step. Now, let's say there's 4 triggers that go. That's 4 automatic referrals. Then you've got your in-person time. So when you do it right, those referral requests get layered in and
Yep.
layered in and layered in because not everyone's going to give it to you right away. And the scary thing, I've run sales meetings all across the country, and I will open a sales meeting. I've done this from the stage, and I've even said at small conferences, raise your hand with the number of fingers showing me how many referrals you've asked for this week. It is crickets. You will have 1 to 2 salespeople say 1 or 2, and the rest is silent. And everyone knows it, but no one does it. So using these opportunities, just again, control from the company standpoint, from a salesperson standpoint, who doesn't want referrals, plug those in, send them out, good to go. So it's just, again, they're inseparable. Sales, efficiency, and customer service, when intertwined the right way using a CRM, obviously like Acculynx, and can be a real game changer, especially when it comes to scaling a sales team and you losing that pulse over not knowing what Joe is selling. Is he selling it the same way as Mike and Tyler? And then is Katie doing it the same way?
Well, you want people to work with your team to feel like they're working with the team. Right. And certainly our personalities coming through and whatever. But, at the end of the day, if I'm working for, Bensman, if I'm working with Bensman Roofing, right, then I want that to be consistent. And if my sales guy quits or goes on vacation or whatever, I don't want it all of a sudden to feel like, oh, I have no idea what Adam was talking about. Well, we don't do that, or whatever. Right. I want that to be a consistency. And look, I mean, we're all humans, right? We get busy, and sales guys are notorious a little bit on the ADD side. So sometimes you just forget stuff, right? You just totally forgot to ask for a referral. But from an owner's perspective, you're sitting there going, oh my God, that's a job we could have had. That's a sale we could have made. And of course, salesmen as well. But if you can put automations in place so that those little benign things are just trickling out every time we throw an email out, every time we throw a text out or whatever it is, you're just tickling them.
Yep.
And it might not happen the first or second or third time, but the 5th or 6th or 10th time, all of a sudden, then, oh yeah, those guys, they've stayed in touch with me. I'm actually really impressed that every time I turn around, I'm being told about this or that or the other thing. Sure, I'll tell my friends, my neighbors, or whatever the case might be. I apologize. My dog is verbally harassing a squirrel in the background. It's
all
working
good
from home these days.
I don't hear it at all.
Oh, good. Sorry, no dog at all. No.
Okay. No, I don't. Everything flies on the Roof Strategist show.
But I think the other aspect, and you've touched on it, right? I mean, clearly I don't disagree with anything that you said. I think from a company culture and from a business process and scalability standpoint, one of the things that a CRM gives you also is accountability. Right.
Yes.
Is knowing what happened. And look, we've all maybe got that one team member that's just trouble, but more often than not, I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt and say, you're not a scumbag. I'm not a scumbag, but I might remember things differently. I might have different expectations. Maybe I legitimately, sincerely, 100% believe that I did tell you to do the thing, but I didn't. Right. And so now there's a fight or whatever about something. I remember years ago, I had this customer. I was in the Indianapolis office, but we were doing this remote production concept that the owner was trying to do. So from Indianapolis, we were doing production in like Louisville and Nashville and in Charlotte. It was in Charlotte. We had 4 offices, our own, plus those other 3 that we were working in. And this one job had dragged on because a mortgage check was taking forever to come back, and the customer was getting miffed because it was taking so long from the date he had signed his contract to the date we got the job built. And of course, the sales guy, by extension, was getting miffed because his customer who was miffed was calling him, and it was just a nightmare, right? Anyway, finally, months later, the job materials drop. A couple days before the job, I'd put an order together in Acculynx, and I sent it over to the supplier, and they dropped the materials. And in that scenario, the sales guy's job was to go check the materials. That was just the way that his system worked out. And he calls us up on the day of the build, and he's checking the materials, and he's freaking out because, oh my God, you guys dropped black shingles. What are you doing? That was the original color, but I put a change order in 2 weeks ago, changing the colors to brown. Go look in there and whatever. What are you guys doing? You took all this, and it was mouth. I mean, you know the deal, right? And I'm not going to blame the sales guy because my office manager, Becky, wasn't any better. She was mouthing back. And I'm sitting here on the outside going, this is getting pretty not culturally friendly around here. We'll just be polite about it, okay? It was getting unpleasant. And I'm sitting here, I'm the nerd in the background going, what the heck happened out there, right? And sure enough, I go to the documents section of the job file, and sure enough, there's a change order signed 2 weeks before, changing the color to brown. I was a big change order guy anyway, right? So changing the order to brown. And I'm looking at it going, how the heck did that happen? Because I was really good about checking for change order. I'm not perfect. Nobody is, but I was pretty darn sure that didn't say brown 2 days ago when I put this order together, right? Well, I started poking around a little bit more. Rob and Becky are just back and forth in the background. And I'm poking around. Sure enough, change history, date and timestamps, everything. What had Rob done? Did he upload the change order? Yeah. Was the change order signed 2 weeks ago? Yeah. He uploaded it 15 minutes before he picked up the phone and called us. Okay.
Oh,
now, I don't know whether Rob legitimately thought he did it and didn't, or whether Rob just totally miffed it and was trying to cover his tracks, but it sure looked like it was our fault. Right? It sure looked like it was me. Now, I'm only telling the story because it was not my fault, but it could have easily have been my fault. The truth would have been there, is my point, right? And as soon as we saw what had happened, drama, gone, right? Contractors love their drama too, as much as they love their job folders, right? They love their drama. And usually it's just a misunderstanding, right? There's no accountability. It's a scribble that anybody could have scribbled at any time. Who knows when that was really scribbled on the front of the folder? There was instant drama was gone, and it allowed us to do what? What was the real problem? The problem wasn't the brown shingles, or it wasn't my fault, and it wasn't Rob's fault, and it wasn't Becky's fault. The problem was we've got a customer who's got the wrong color shingles on the driveway, but nobody could see that, because everybody was so caught pointing fingers and screaming and cussing everybody else out that we missed the real problem. Was we got a customer getting a real bad experience right now. We better figure out how to get the right color shingles out there.
Yeah.
And the drama was gone, and we were able to focus on that. And then there might have been some drama later on, but yeah, that problem was done, and we saw through it, and we were able to make the customer happy, and then deal with the human resources issues later on, right? But that was the key thing about all that, right? That accountability, that being able to actually see what's going on, have a record, even especially if it comes to lawsuits. God, you got to take somebody to court. Somebody starts saying things on Yelp or Home Advisor or Angie's List or wherever it is. You've got documentation of what all was done. Dude, right?
I did another video on nightmare situations.
Yeah,
sure. Because I handle all of our legal affairs, and luckily we didn't have that many considering the volume we did. But yeah, those change orders, simple documents, word of mouth things. We had exchanges with customers that were all agreed upon. Everything was amicable and friendly until you find out the guy was half in the bag drunk at 8 a.m. and didn't remember the fact that he's all these. I'll stop at that story.
Well, I've got some fun stories on that one too. Yeah,
folks can watch that one. But the other thing too, just from a sales management standpoint, I remember how horrifying it was when a salesperson, when there was turnover and not knowing where they were at with what customers, what leads were open, what leads were assigned that were followed up with, what were in progress.
Or the
And
sales guy's taking his folders with him and you don't even know they exist.
And then you're out of it. And sometimes the sales guy just realizes the industry's not for him. Other ones are off to a competitor and they just took the jobs. And then you find out about him like, hey, where's Troy? He was supposed to be at my house. And you're like,
who?
I literally, when you don't have a record of that customer existing, and then you got to show up. And I was the guy that had to show up and with his tail tucked between his legs before we were organized and say, can you just kind of film with us? And I really don't know what's going on. And that's just, it's not a good feeling. So having back again to the control piece is huge. So
absolutely.
Speaking of which, what's the best way, just since we're running right up on time here, is there anything that I missed that you think would be beneficial for people to know just about a CRM in general, efficiency, or Acculynx, anything that you guys are working on or going to be releasing at any point?
Look, I think, I'm probably not the first CRM that anybody's ever heard of before, right? And so I guess I kind of want to go back to kind of how we had started, like how do you find the right one, right? Know what you're looking for, but whatever one you pick, I was telling you before we started this, right? When my wife and I went house shopping, the house that we're in right now, we had a big old long list of everything that we wanted in a house, but probably no one house was going to check off all of those boxes. Mm-hmm. So we just said, okay, well, this one's got the big garage, but it doesn't have the fireplace, and this one's, whatever it was that we were looking for, right? And the house that we got ticked the most boxes off that we had ranked the highest on the list of, well, we got to have this, right? What are your non-negotiables, right? But whatever you pick, look, I'm not on the sales side of things. I'm a trainer. I'm a nerd. I'm the guy that just helps you figure out how to build processes, right? And while I would love for you to come with Acculynx, at the end of the day, I want contractors to be successful. The CRM that you use is better than the one that you don't, right? I love customers that come to me from a competitor that say, yeah, this, we wrung every bit of functionality out of that one, and it wasn't meeting our needs, and we came to Acculynx because we wanted X, Y, and Z. Those are great customers. You want to know the ones that I cringe at? Yeah, we've had 5 CRMs. They all suck. They all fail. None of them ever work. My guys won't use any of them, but Acculynx is going to be different somehow. No, that speaks to a leadership problem. Right? You're not setting expectations with your team. You're not training your people on what to do. And most importantly, you're not holding them accountable to doing it or being the example for that in the first place, right? So whichever one you pick, if it's Acculynx, great, I'd love to talk to you. And if it's not, no hard feelings, but whatever you do, make sure that you've got leadership in place. The guys aren't going to just naturally do it. Mm-hmm. Right? You got to tell them what you expect and then hold them to those expectations, right? And, human beings just want to get their job done as fast as possible. And if I can get my job done by not using this newfangled thing you just rolled out, guess what? I'm just not going to use it. Right? Yeah. So it's that accountability of going back to saying, whichever one I pick, cool. Now go for it. Use it. Prioritize it. Shut down your office for 3 hours and just do everything and get it all rung up and then spin your office back up or come in on a weekend or stay late or come in early, right? Those are the things that really are going to drive success and get you all the other benefits, right, that you just talked about, that we agreed about. But if you don't roll it out and you don't set those expectations, you're never going to get those benefits. Right?
And it is about holding the team accountable to use it because it's tough. It's especially when you're making. And one thing that I did just to leave, I want to leave a few kind of key takeaways for folks, especially individual sales managers or owners. I'd encourage you to consider doing this, but I literally created a checklist. And it was because some people are better pen and paper, and we printed it out in that job file when it was produced. And I realized everything's going to happen electronically anyway, but it was more about creating the habit. So that way, when the one sales guy who would always forget to take the before pictures or whatever it is, there's that constant reminder as opposed to just like waiting for it. And then everyone's in panic. Sales meeting cadence, which I preach. You got to have a sales meeting cadence. Same time, same place, every week, no matter what. You, the owner manager, stick to that schedule, and holding the team, doing those check-ins to literally create the environment where the habits are formed. Because using the CRM efficiently, salespeople, you're going to make more money, period, because you're going to be efficient with your time. And I'll tell you, when you're juggling 20 installs at once and trying to get referrals, you don't know Peggy from Sue from Robert, like a shingle's a shingle at one point. Did I talk to the who was at that house? Like, you don't remember them.
Especially if you're in one of those developments where they all look the same.
Exactly.
The only difference is the trees on the left or the trees on the right. The driveway.
You're
or whatever,
lucky if
right?
there's trees.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so from the efficiency standpoint, and then it's about making the customers happy. And then from an operational standpoint, so I talked to some companies that are just like hyper focused. I want a CRM that has the operational efficiencies, putting in orders, estimates, syncing with Eagle View or Hover, and pulling that data in and putting together orders. So find what you need. And I'll say it. I can plug you. I'm not getting paid to plug you, but I'll plug you anyway. If people want to set up a demo with you or learn about Acculynx, to just reach out and learn more.
If they want a demo with Acculynx, I would say reach out to us, either on Facebook or on our website. You can email sales@acculynx.com. I'm not on the sales team, so all I'm going to do is send you over to the sales team. If you are an Acculynx person or you got some questions about some in-depth thing, then you can hit me up. I'm at training@acculynx.com.
Awesome.
If you're just trying to figure out how to make something work, or just trying to resolve a question, you've got this thing, but you don't know how to make it work or whatever it is. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. That's ultimately my job here, is to do that, right? So
yeah.
But like when it comes to those, you were right. Make sure if the customer's got something important, that you're passing that on to the right people, right? Sales guys. One of my old sales managers used to call it commission breath, right? You're at the dining room table and you're like, oh my God, that's going to be a huge check, and all you want to do is just get going, because maybe you just want to get out of there, or you want to get to the next one, or you got an appointment, or whatever the case might be. Sales guys are hunters. They want to go after the next one, the next kill, go after the next one. But if you don't stop and make sure that this kill stays fresh, right? Then you turn that job in and you just do something simple like, replace the window screens per the scope of work, and turn it in, and you don't set the expectations with that customer. That's the customer that gets it in their head you're getting all their windows done or some crap, right? Because you didn't set the expectation, so you let them set the expectation, and now God knows what they thought, right? Maybe the guy's a scam artist, or maybe the guy just legitimately doesn't know how to read State Farm's Xactimate report, right? And he legitimately thought he was getting all of his windows replaced. He's not trying to scam you. You just didn't set the expectation. You don't control the narrative. They get to, right? But being able to do that and then pass those instructions on. If it's something like don't start before 8 a.m., you darn well better make sure that the production guy tells the crew not to get out there before 8 a.m. That's important to them. It's not important to you maybe, but it's important to them. So it needs to be important to you. And that's the stuff that if there's little things, everyone's going to put a roof on, and that roof probably is going to look good the day after the roof goes up. So what's going to make it different is the experience they had. Did you care about what they cared about? Because I don't care about what you care about. I care about what I care about. And if you care about what I care about, then I'm going to feel like we got something going on. And I had a good experience with you, right? So, care about what they care about and show that you do, and make sure those little things are taken care of.
Absolutely. You just sparked another video idea I'm going to do on just creating an amazing customer experience, because it's
there you go, man.
So overlooked. So love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, Matt, thanks. Super appreciate having you on here. For everyone listening, check out Acculynx. You can reach out to sales@Acculynx, or if you're using it, reach out to training@Acculynx.
Yep.
Check them out. Obviously, feel free to check out any other platforms. Choose what's right for you. Not everything's going to be the perfect fit. That's why we have options. That's why there's a million shingle manufacturers. And that's why there's a million roofing companies. So your best way to stand apart is to position yourself in the field. Use the training you learn here, use the information in my marketing battle pack, and use your opportunity to create that unique customer experience by leveraging the tools in your CRM. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on joining us, Matt.
Thanks. Appreciate it.